Jordan Ellis here for LowKick, mate. I'm joined by Cameron Else, who is about to fly out to Abu Dhabi ahead of his UFC debut on October 3rd. How's it going, Cameron?
Yeah, it's going really well, thanks.
Really and so well. What are you doing right now? Are you quarantining ahead of your flight? And I think that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, so I had to go into London and take a COVID test with my two coaches. And then I had to go back to my house and self-isolate until we got the results. We got the results back yesterday, giving us the all clear. So now literally just got to stay in the house and wait until we drive to the airport tomorrow and then get on the plane. And then when we get on the plane, land in Dubai, we got to go for another COVID test. And then we're locked in our hotel room for 48 hours until the results come back. So I'm quite surprised that it takes that long for the results to come back in Dubai when in England it took 1 day. So I'm a bit shocked there, really, considering I thought Dubai would be a lot more quicker and advanced. So.
And it's not really ideal circumstances and all this stuff. It's hindering your preparation. How massively has it impacted your prep for this fight in terms of training, weight cut, and things like that?
Yeah, to be obviously it's a short notice fight. Like I've had a week to get myself ready, so it's a bit of a. Sorry, I keep covering the camera. I've got a new tablet today, so the camera keeps cut. I'm getting used to it, but yeah, no, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Obviously, I took the fight on a week's notice. It is what it is. I knew the situation. I knew that it's going to be a harder weight cut than I've done before. Given this situation with I'm not allowed out of my house, so I can't really be running, burning the weight, cutting the fat. But I'm ready, you know. Like this isn't as much as it is a week notice fight. This is 10 years in the making for me. Ain't no. Like honestly, like when I say this, it doesn't matter who it was, what weight. I was gonna say yes, and I'm ready to go. Like there's no time like the present. You've only got to look at my career. I've took a few big short notice fights, and I deliver. So it's one of those things. We're just gonna have to see how the weight cut goes. However, like I'm doing good now. Like I'm one weight. Like I know I'm gonna make the weight, and it is what it is.
And in terms of you signing for the UFC, obviously it's a huge deal. How does it work? You know, in these uncertain times, they seem to just be, you know, have a load of guys on standby. So have you been guaranteed another fight after this? How does that type of stuff work?
Yeah, well, I've actually got signed on a multi-fight deal, so I've got more than this one fight. It's funny actually because going back to March this year, just before COVID, it looked like I was signing then. But obviously the London show ended up getting full cancelled, so I didn't quite make it onto that. And then I just stayed ready, man. Like lockdown was tough, it was difficult. Played on my mind a bit, had to do a bit of soul searching halfway through from just being locked down. Got back on the horse and just basically just channeled my mindset and identified the demon that was keeping me down and just attacked it with everything. And I set up a few challenges on my Instagram page, which I got a load of other people involved to try and help them through, because I know other people during this lockdown was going through like some mental side of mental health problems and that. So I've got a formula that I believe works, and let's say I'll go into another day, but I had to use that formula to get me out of the hole being stuck in COVID, because I went from training 3 times a day, every day, literally every morning I swim at 6 a.m. and then I'm in the steam room, and I always finish the night time with going in the sauna because it just clears my mind and it sets me up to prepare for the day. Like I get in routine. I'm one of those guys. So then to fall out of routine and not have nothing, can't even engage people, like literally just shadow box on the patio. It was getting me down, man. And anyway, before letting it slip down into like that dark place, I managed to just identify, like, I've been down that road before. I didn't like it. I need to just get my head focused on it. And that's when I decided to take on these challenges, and it pulled me out and it motivated me. And since then, I just been running every day, like doing everything I can. Like if I can't, I can't actually get in the MMA gyms and do like my training and say learning and such. So then I work on my cardio to the highest degree, and I try and like break PBs in that. So I did that, and yeah, like I was then getting ready for the UFC Fight Island. I got a phone call to ask if I'd step in and fight Jack Shaw. Obviously, I said yes to that. They ended up going with another opponent, and then I got told, boy, Nathaniel Woodley's an opponent as well. So I said yes to that, and then I get told by the UFC, go get your bloods done, because this is where it got a bit strange. I go up to London, like rush up there, get all my bloods done. I messaged Nathaniel and I said to him like, right, we're gonna fight. Like, don't fucking like, let's do it, man. Like, bragging rights for the UK, first prospect killer that I've been nicknamed for, obviously taking him out. And he was up for it. He said, yeah, 100%, like, I'm up for it and that. And then apparently on their behalf, when they got given the names, my name weren't given over, which I found frustrating, confusing. Whether Nathaniel actually got told my name or just his team got told my name and they didn't pass it on to him, I don't know, or whatnot, or if they decided at the time, this isn't the best fight for you. Like, we've got 4 guys here. Let's pick the simplest one where the least threat. Because regardless of how they look at it, put me on paper, I come in and short notice don't bother me, and they now got the power hands to put anyone down. So I don't really know exactly what happened with that. From what I have been told later on, that they were offered, the UFC did announce and did let me know that I was offered across, because it frustrated me, as you can imagine. Like, why would I go and get all my bloods done and all this stuff? And I thought that was it. I thought I was going to be in. So then for that to then fall through and it's like, no, you're not on it now. It was like, what? It's like a come down check. So I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'll just carry on driving, and I will not be denied. I'll keep at it. And I have the best management in the world, and that, without a shadow of a doubt, I knew with the way I think and the way I operate, like my manager, we're exactly the same. So when you can actually see people who do things like you, then your belief in them, like they believe in you, you're going to create great things. So that obviously brings me to now. The shots come. Yeah, it's a week out. That doesn't bother me.
Actually, before that last fight for Nathaniel Wood, I actually spoke to him when he was in your situation, basically waiting for his flight the next day. And I did bring yourself up, and he said that you'd been in touch with him, and as far as he concerned, your name weren't put across to him. He got a list of 5 names or something like that, and he knew a couple of people on the list, but your name definitely wasn't on it. In terms of just getting that sniff of UFC anyway, you've had 2 chances this year. Does that keep your mindset positive in the fact that you know he's so close and there's all these chances popping up left, right and centre at the minute for people like yourself?
Yeah. At the end of the day, the only chance that is not presented is to the guy that's not ready. So, like, the thing with me, right? I come into martial arts late on. I've only been doing it, even though I've been doing it 10 years. I did it. I've never done any combat sport or anything like growing up. I hated violence, hate fighting, and I used to get like, it weren't for me. Like, I just didn't like it. And I come out of the army and I found MMA because it did save me in that. So from the moment I started, I was always an underdog. Like, literally, like, I've always had people write me off. And the reason why I changed to this sport was I played football growing up, and at the end of the day, you're part of a team. It's a team game, and I found that if your parents are running the football team, then their kids are playing, and if they're mates and like, I never had family come and watch me play one football game. Like, didn't happen at all. So I was a kid that they could always just do whatever they wanted, and it would just become one of them. So by the time I got older, I fell out of love with that. I fell out of love with it. I still carried on playing it and that. But then when I've discovered MMA and that, I thought, you know what? That's one place where nobody can deny me. Like, when I go in there and that cage door shuts, it's down to me. It's all in my hand. It's down to me if I want to get in the cage. It's down for me to put the training in. I ain't got to rely on, his mate, she mate, and all this. So it was just like, it's the one place that when I get in there and I look at that door, I just feel free, man. I feel like now I get to literally show the world what I have to offer. And regardless, like along this journey, I've had a lot of crooks in my way, promoters, people that have literally, like the biggest promoters that have done whatever they can to, they brought me in last minute because they wanted me to lose, and they've held back my fights and not released them. They've not, like, when I've come in and done the business, and all of that never really mattered to me, because I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't care what you say or what you do, what reasons you bring me in for, because when I come in, I will fuck up your whole business plan. And I did that time and time again, and every time after, you've only got to look back, it all goes quiet. Like, they're like, shit, that won't happen. Like, oh, let's not give him that title fight. Oh, let's not release this footage. Oh, let's keep him on the silence for a year. Do you know what I mean? It was just, it got to the point, and then that's when I just, like, I met Jason, and I said to him, like, like, the only place for me to be is the UFC. And I don't want any part in anything else other than the UFC. If it means I've got to go to a big organization and take one fight, I don't mind, because I know my ability. But I need a manager that's going to guide me and stop me getting fucked over. Because if the promoters took me serious back in the day when I first beat Paddy Pimblett, it'd be a completely different story now. Like, I would have been in the UFC ages ago. I would have been like the biggest face in UK MMA. Like, it's like, you can't, like, no one can deny that. But I wasn't looked after. I was unmanaged. It was like, we got a guy whose game likes to fight. We could just chuck him in at the deep end. I was fighting at all different weights. So I made my mistakes. I didn't. I took my lessons and I've learnt from them. And yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, in the US might not know you. Yeah, you mentioned earlier you're known as the prospect killer. And that's for a great reason. You mentioned Paddy Pimblett, then you took his O. Also, Dylan Tuke and Aiden James as well. You were highly touted prospects. So I just want to give you the platform to kind of, you know, tell the US fans and everyone around the world a bit about yourself, what we can expect from you on fight night, and just things that you think they might want to know.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm a former elite paratrooper, and I wear that on my chest. That's like my pride and glory, man. They're the boys. They made me and helped shape me into the man I've come today with that killer mindset. But, like, at the end of the day, there's nothing really in life that just happens. Like, you're molded, and the parachute regiment were a big factor in that. And my mindset, I can guarantee you, is just like unbreakable. Like, to people that like, know me, be around me, like, anyone that knows me knows that, one, I'm a crazy fucker, and everyone likes a bit of craziness. And I bring it, man. Like, it doesn't matter where I'm on the card, I'm the main event. Like, that's the start of my fight. Like, everyone gets gassed to see me fight. Everyone, when they were on the fight nights that I've had, I've always stole the show. I've got all my 10 wins of first round finishes. Don't get me wrong, there's kind of skids in there, but that's because no one wants to step up. Like, do you know what I mean? I've had people. I spent my whole career, like, literally just waiting to fight the top people and going in there banging them, and then who wants to now fight me at 135 at bantamweight? There is no one. Like, I'd never ever got given a fight. Oh, you got 6-7 week fight camp to fight this guy at 135. It was like, there's a phone call, 2 weeks, there you go, fight this guy at 135. And that's why I had to step up. And then it got to the point where I was just sitting around, and my manager was like, listen, you're going to have to just take these fights. If they pull out, you just bang the replacement and crack on, because people want to chat shit about certain things sometimes and that. And it's like, the fighters out there that want to say they're the big and they're the best, but they don't want to prove it. And they don't want to risk putting their name on the line. And they're always excuses for me. Oh, he's had a couple of losses. I wanted to win a few first. And it was like, there's every excuse. Like, with me, I'm a real fighter, man. I'm a real true bred born fighter. I fight for everything that I've ever earned. Like, I fight for everything. So what the fans need to know about me is that when I come, they know I come to fight. When the name comes across the phone or across in the email, my manager knows I've said yes. Like, when I become a champ one day in the UFC, there ain't going to be me dictating and saying, oh, he's in line, or he's in line, oh, no, or this and that. Shut up, mate. Like, honestly, to every champion that does that, it bugs me. Regardless, I'm in the UFC. When I get to that position and I'm championship status and I've got that belt wrapped around me, the UFC, you just send me the contract and I say, yeah, that's it. And that's a true fighter. And there's only one other true fighter that I really, really know, like a close mate now, and that's Cowboy. And like being around him for so long and living with him in America, he's taught me everything. And like people say, oh, he ain't been a champion and that. Listen, Cowboy could have been a champion if he played the game like all these other champions do. Like as this game gets more and more advanced and more like popular, people are like hanging back and sitting out 7-8 months because their contracts, and they go, no, I'm ranked 3, so I would fight 2. And do you know what I mean? Like if Cowboy did that, he would have been champ, but he didn't. Cowboy literally, yeah, I've been in the car with Cowboy when he took the Darren Till fight. I mean, it was in the car with him and they rung him and they went, yeah, fight in Poland, and he's like, yeah, send the contract. Like main event, he's like, do you want to know it? He's like, who? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, send it. Like that's just him, and it like because he's a fighter, he's a real fighter. So the way I look at it, I will fight anyone at any time, and literally that rubs off me from being around Cowboy as well. I'll be ready to always go because I know how to fight. It's just a matter of getting the weight down. That's all it comes down to is the weight cut. Because as we all know, you could be the fittest fighter ever, but if you have a real bad weight cut, it can affect your performance and it could make you fatigue in it. So I'm one of them. I'll always show up. I'll always turn up. I'll always say yes to a fight. I'm here now. And when I do something spectacular, which I will, I won't be hidden. The UFC won't hide me. They'll see my strengths. They'll see my potential. They'll see the way I carry myself. And they will highlight that. And I will become a face. I will become a big name face, a household name for the UFC. I've got catching up to do, don't get me wrong, but nothing stops me. Nothing.
And you mentioned then that you've been training with Cowboy Cerrone. So you're over at Jackson Wink for your camps usually. Is that where you're based now in terms of living there, or how does it work for you?
Yeah, so I've never been able to actually like live there because for one, like the visa, it's hard to get visa out there. So I used to go over on a waiver, but I used to do 3 months at a stint. But I used to, at first I started out as staying at Jackson Wink, and I went there for the first time, stayed there, went back the second time, stayed in the dorms at 3 months. Then I got to know Cowboy, and then basically I then got an apartment out there with friends out there. He's like, you do, you just like the more you go out there. And then yeah, I've been like I come close pals with Cowboy. Like he's come over to England. We went around Europe, done a BMF tour, like seminars and that. And yeah, so whenever I go out there, I'll stay with him. He's a great guy. Like helped build the ranch out there, so it's great. So yeah, I pretty much I am here. Obviously, COVID stopped me from doing any like MMA training and getting out there and train. So I've just literally just been back here for now. But as soon as like for an example, like now I can get a P1 visa and that. So because I'm a professional athlete and I'm signed by the UFC, that pretty much opens me up to fly to America and I should be allowed in. So straight after this, hopefully good fucking turnaround in this fight and uninjury, and I'll either look to aim to stay at Fight Island and just wait for the next pull out and let Dana know if you can get that other guy. I've forgotten his name, but I think he's quality. Is it Kazmi?
Oh, Kazmat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get him 2 fights in 10 days, and if I come out injury free, then you can get me 2 fights because I want to beat that record. So give me 1 in 7. You know what I mean? Like I'll be that guy that want to stay there. So, but yeah, after that, come back from there, whatnot, get the P1 visa sorted, and then I'd love to try and finish off the year with a fight in Vegas, whether it be at the Apex or whatnot. And if it is, then I'll fly straight out there and just do a full camp. But I train down at Jackson Wink. I go there obviously for the guys that are my size and that, and I also train up with Cowboy and do all the crazy shit with him. So.
But when you're at home, it's zero MMA training. Do you not pop down to a local gym and kind of get some bodies? It's all just cardio and things like that at home.
No, so what it is at home, I still get it all in. So I've always been one of these guys that when I looked into MMA and started doing it, the biggest mistake that people make is that MMA means mixed martial arts. That doesn't, you can't learn mixed martial arts altogether. So my view on it was you need to go to professionals in each attribute of martial arts, and then you go to a class to put them together. So I trained with the best taekwondo kickboxing coach in England. He's a former world champion. I've been training with him since 2015. So he lives in my hometown. So we get rounds in. He's actually been a right blessing, because these last 3 months since the announcement for the first Fight Island, he's been my sparring partner every Tuesday and Thursday, and he's just like, I'm so happy you're in the UFC now, because now we can pay to get guys in, because he says I'm just getting too much, which is like a nice compliment. But yeah, so I train with him a lot, and then I decided to. I've been saying it for ages. I love boxing, and I love that. Obviously, I've got the power in my hands. I know I have, and that, but I also know that I don't throw the best correct punch, and you can only get better by getting in there. So I spoke to, again, a local gym, Golden Gloves Pros by Sammy Holloway, and jumped in with him. And literally, I was pro boxing sparring twice a week with the pro boxers. Little lad called Joe Brett, about my size, mate. He is the Matrix. Let me tell you that. And he's been putting me through my paces, and Paul Brown, and a few other guys down there. So I get that in, and then I train jiu-jitsu in that with my jiu-jitsu coach, my professor from the beginning, Fami Neto. Every Wednesday I go up. I have to travel a bit, but I go up and we do black belt Wednesdays, and we just go hard. We do 10-minute rounds of just non-stop grappling. So it's beast. So I get it in, but I just don't have that class where I've been able to go and do MMA sparring, like where I can stand, bang, wrestle. Because I think like my taekwondo coach would get a bit annoyed if I double leg him and suplex him and stuff. So, but the way I look at it, like I'm more experienced now, so I don't, like, regardless that I haven't done my MMA sparring like I would have liked to, especially for this fight. I'm confident that I've got enough on my feet to put him out, and if he wants to go to the floor, then bring it, because when I got to look at the start of my career, like every person that ever shot on me or wanted to take me down there, it didn't end up well. So.
And on to the fight, it's Kyler Phillips, 7-1. What do you know about him, and have you had a chance to have a proper look at him yet?
Yeah, I actually had a look the other day, yesterday I think, first time. My coach sent me it, but I know that he's good. He's game. But at the end of the day, at this level now, there is no bums. Do you know what I mean? There's all guys that have got that extra fight in them because of what's to play. I know that he calls himself the Matrix, so he's obviously very flashy. I kind of like, from what I see of him, I kind of mirror myself against him. And my coach, actually, my kickboxing coach, said it. Like, he throws very high volume and he mixes up his strikes from punch kicks, hook kicks, everything. And that's pretty much what I do. So, like, my coach says he's very frustrated. He gets very frustrated with me as of late, because the way I can just switch my stance and box from southpaw, orthodox, come and put kicks. And I do stuff in sparring and that, which I don't even know what it is. Do you know what I mean? And it works. And I'm not scared to try. And he's not either. And I'm pretty sure he got fight of the night on his last fight in the UFC. So I'm looking like, listen, brother, let's have it. Let's absolutely go hell for leather. Let's give everyone something to tweet about and let people know that these are two guys that are actually bringing the heat. Like, he's skilled. He's all round. He's good, man. Like, I've got nothing bad to say, anything bad about him. I really respect the fact that he said yes to the fight. He didn't have to, being a week's notice, change of opponent. But again, he's a real fighter, and he stepped up, and I've stepped up, and trust me, the fans are going to be. This fight's going to be fight of the night. Like, the way he carries himself, and I carry myself, I don't go backwards. He likes to do his crazy stuff, which I've always said. In my ideal fight, I want to be seeing my own blood run down my face. I want to see the blood run down my opponent's face, and I want us to look each other in the eye. Come near the end of that third, if it goes that far. Point in the middle. Come and meet me in the middle, brother. Let's finish this now. Swing for swing, like Max Holloway that time. That's what it's going to be like. I'm telling you.
It's a huge opportunity for yourself. It's, not only is it making history kind of on Fight Island.
Yeah, I love that.
You're seeing guys just pop up on last minute Kevin Kroom did it a few weeks ago, where he pops up,
brilliant.
gets a huge win, a 50k bonus, life changes forever. That's kind of something you must be thinking about right now, or dreaming about a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's all I've ever visualized. Like, seriously, I couldn't ask for a better fight. Honestly, I couldn't. Like, if I had to pick my debut in the UFC, it would be a week's notice against a top opponent, like a top, say something top opponent. Obviously, he's not ranked top yet, but he's got all the hype around him and he's on his way. Like, there's only been great things said about him. So it's in my element, really. So for me to go in now, the pressure's not on me. There's no pressure on me. Like, the moment I signed the dotted line to the UFC, there was no pressure for me, no. Like, I've reached my goal, my dream as a boy. Like, since I started MMA, this has been my whole dream. This is the thing I dream about. I get up, I train my visualization, and I do everything I can to make that dream come reality. And I've done that. So I've done it. The UFC gloves are strapped there, and they're going to be up on the wall, and there's no pressure for me now. Now I can finally go in and enjoy this roller coaster, because along the journey on the way to the UFC, it's up and down, innit? It's like up, down. And when you're low, you don't know. Sometimes you doubt yourself and you're like, oh, well, I need to do this now, win 2 more. I'm here. And now I'm just going to enjoy the roller coaster. This ride I've got on, and I'm about to just enjoy it all. Like, just let it go. So it's the perfect fight, like you say, to make a statement. Like, I go out there and I'll put him out in 1 round. Wait for the interview. I'm going to drop some bombs.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. I just want to wish you luck with the flight, the weight cut, the fight night. Can't wait to watch it, and just thanks for making some time for this today.
Yeah, no worries, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and yeah, hopefully we'll run this back after next week, and we'll see what happens from there, eh?